The sensor station on Corvani Prime hummed with quiet efficiency. For 800 years, the Corvani Empire had ruled this corner of the galaxy without challenge. Their purple-scaled skin and six-armed bodies made them natural warriors, and their technology had crushed every species they encountered. Today felt like any other day of peaceful dominance. Sensor Officer Zephyr worked at his station, monitoring the empty space beyond their borders. His 4 eyes scanned the displays showing the usual background radiation and cosmic dust. Nothing interesting ever happened here. The Empire's reputation kept all potential threats far away. Then something changed. A small blip appeared on his screen for just 2 seconds before vanishing. Zephyr blinked all 4 eyes and leaned closer. Space distortions were common near black holes, but there were no black holes in this sector. He ran a diagnostic on his equipment, but everything checked out perfectly. The blip appeared again, this time for 5 seconds. Zephyr's heart rate increased as he studied the readings. Whatever caused this distortion was massive, far larger than any ship in the Corvani fleet. But that was impossible. Nothing that size could move without being detected by their advanced sensors. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, something extraordinary was happening. The human battleship Thunderstrike glided silently through the void, its hull barely visible even to the most advanced detection systems. The ship stretched 3 kilometers from bow to stern, bristling with weapons and technology that no alien species had ever seen. Captain Marcus Reed stood on the bridge, his weathered face calm despite the magnitude of their mission. At 55, he had spent 30 years preparing for this moment. Behind him, his crew worked with quiet precision, each one knowing they were about to change galactic history forever. The Thunderstrike was humanity's first ambassador to the stars, but it was also their insurance policy. Earth's scientists had been watching the Corvani Empire for decades, studying their technology and tactics through hidden observation posts. What they learned had both amazed and concerned them. The Corvani were powerful, but they had grown complacent after centuries without real opposition. Navigation Officer Beth Stone checked her instruments and spoke quietly to the captain. Their stealth systems were working perfectly, bending light and energy around the massive ship like water flowing around a stone. To outside observers, the Thunderstrike was nothing more than a shadow in space. Back on Corvani Prime, Zephyr was getting desperate. The mysterious readings were appearing more frequently now, and they were growing stronger. He called over his supervisor, Commander Nexus, a scarred veteran of the last interstellar war. Nexus studied the sensor data with growing concern. His military training told him something was very wrong, but his logic insisted it was impossible. No one had the technology to hide something this large from Corvani sensors. Their detection grid could spot a small asteroid from light years away. The readings showed an object nearly 3 kilometers long moving through their space. If the sensors were correct, this thing was bigger than their largest dreadnought, but it appeared and disappeared like a ghost, following no known laws of physics. On the Thunderstrike, Chief Engineer Petra Volkov monitored the stealth systems from her station deep in the ship's heart. The technology was humanity's greatest achievement, combining quantum mechanics with exotic matter in ways that seemed like magic. Her engines hummed with barely contained power, ready to propel the massive ship faster than anything the aliens had ever built. Captain Reed knew they were being detected, even if only partially. That was part of the plan. Humanity wanted to make an impression, to show the galaxy that Earth's children had arrived among the stars, but they also wanted to demonstrate that they couldn't be caught unprepared or overwhelmed by superior numbers. Communications Officer Diana Walsh sat ready. At her station, humanity's message to the galaxy prepared and waiting. When the time came, she would broadcast in every known alien language, announcing Earth's presence and intentions. The message was simple but powerful. Humanity sought peace, but they would defend themselves if necessary. As the Thunderstrike moved deeper into Corvani space, panic began to spread through their monitoring stations. Reports of the massive ghost ship reached higher and higher levels of command, each officer more skeptical than the last. But the evidence was undeniable. Something unprecedented was moving through their territory, something that challenged everything they thought they knew about galactic power. The age of Corvani supremacy was about to end, and neither species would ever be the same again. Admiral Chiron received the emergency transmission in his private quarters aboard the flagship Dominion. His scaled hands gripped the communication device as Commander Nexus's voice crackled through the speakers, reporting impossible sensor readings from the border stations. "You're telling me there's a ship 3 kilometers long moving through our space undetected?" Chiron's voice carried 8 centuries of Imperial authority. "Commander, check your equipment again. Nothing that large exists outside our fleet." But even as he spoke, Admiral Chiron felt a chill run down his spine. In his 40 years of military service, he had never heard such fear in a seasoned officer's voice. Nexus wasn't the type to panic over equipment malfunctions. Across the void, Captain Marcus Reed stood in the Thunderstrike's war room, studying holographic displays of the Corvani fleet positions. Intelligence Officer Nina Cross worked beside him, her fingers dancing across control panels as she analyzed decades of stored alien communications. "Their response patterns are exactly as predicted," Nina reported. "The border stations are reporting up the chain, but High Command thinks it's equipment failure. We have maybe 6 more hours before they take the reports seriously." Reed nodded, thoughtfully. Humanity had spent 30 years studying Corvani psychology and military doctrine. They knew exactly how the alien empire would react to unusual reports. Bureaucracy and overconfidence would work in humanity's favor, at least initially. Communications Officer Diana Walsh looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm monitoring their command frequencies. Admiral Chiron just ordered a full fleet diagnostic. They're starting to take this seriously." The massive human ship continued its silent approach toward the heart of Corvani space. In the medical bay, Dr. James Fletcher prepared for every possible scenario. His team had studied alien biology for years, ready to treat both human and Corvani injuries if negotiations went wrong. Back on Corvani Prime, Admiral Chiron paced his command center as reports flooded in from across the sector. Every border station was detecting the same impossible readings. A massive object moving through space, appearing and disappearing like a phantom. "Sir," his aide Lieutenant Vex spoke carefully, "what if the reports are accurate? What if something really is out there?" Kieran turned all 4 eyes toward the younger officer. The possibility had occurred to him, but accepting it meant admitting that everything they believed about galactic power was wrong. The Corvani Empire had faced many enemies, but none had ever possessed technology this advanced. "Send word to all fleet commanders," Chiron ordered finally. "Full battle readiness. If something is moving through our space, we need to be prepared." On the Thunderstrike, Tactical Officer Jake Morrison monitored the alien fleet movements from his station. Banks of screens showed Corvani warships changing course, their weapon systems coming online across the sector. "They're mobilizing," Morrison reported to Captain Reed. 12 battle groups converging on our projected course. They'll have us surrounded in 8 hours. Reed smiled grimly. "Good. We want their attention. Diana, are you ready with the message?" Communications Officer Walsh nodded, her hand hovering over the transmission controls. The message had been crafted by Earth's finest diplomats and linguists, designed to announce humanity's arrival while demonstrating their peaceful intentions. Chief Engineer Petra Volkov's voice echoed from the engine room. "Captain, stealth systems are holding steady, but I'm detecting increased scanning activity. They're adapting their sensors to track us." "How long before they can get a solid lock?" Reed asked. "Maybe 4 hours, sir. Their technology is more adaptive than we expected." Reed walked to the main view screen, staring out at the stars that had been humanity's dream for so long. Soon, those same stars would know that Earth's children had finally joined the galactic community. Navigator Beth Stone checked her instruments one final time. "Sir, we're approaching the point of no return. Once we cross into the inner system, there's no hiding our intentions." Captain Reed took a deep breath. Behind him, his crew waited for the order that would change everything. Humanity had remained hidden long enough. It was time to step into the light and claim their place among the stars. "All stations prepare for revelation protocol," Reed commanded. It's time the galaxy met humanity. The moment had arrived. Captain Marcus Reed stood at the center of the Thunderstrike's bridge, his crew focused and ready. Around them, the Corvani battle fleet had formed a massive blockade, 12 separate battle groups with enough firepower to destroy entire planets. "All stations report ready, Captain," Navigator Beth Stone announced, her voice steady despite the historic nature of the moment. Reed nodded to Communications Officer Diana Walsh. "Send the message. Let the galaxy know we're here." Diana's fingers moved across her controls, and suddenly every Corvani communication channel filled with a voice speaking perfect Corvani language. "Greetings from the people of Earth. We come in peace, seeking friendship among the stars. We are humanity, and we wish to join the galactic community." On the flagship Dominion, Admiral Chiron nearly fell from his command chair. The voice was speaking flawless Corvani, but the accent was completely unknown. Worse, the transmission was coming from empty space, from the exact location where their sensors detected the phantom readings. "Impossible," Chiron whispered. "There's nothing there." But even as he spoke, space itself began to shimmer. The laws of physics seemed to bend and twist as something massive began to materialize. First came an outline, then solid metal, then the full, terrifying shape of the largest warship anyone had ever seen. The Thunderstrike revealed itself in all its glory. 3 kilometers of sleek human engineering, bristling with weapons that defied alien understanding. The ship's hull gleamed with an inner light, and energy patterns danced across its surface like living things. Across the Corvani fleet, silence filled every bridge. Officers stared in shock at their screens, unable to believe what they were seeing. This ship was not just larger than anything in their fleet, it was more advanced than anything they had thought possible. Chief Engineer Petra Volkov monitored the decloak sequence from her station deep in the ship's heart. "Stealth systems disengaged, Captain. We're fully visible now." On the Corvani flagship, Sensor Officer Zephyr worked frantically at his controls, trying to understand what his instruments were telling him. "Sir, the energy readings from that ship are off the scale. It's generating more power than our entire battle group." Admiral Chiron found his voice after long moments of stunned silence. "Open a communication channel. I want to speak with whoever commands that vessel." The main screen on the Dominion flickered to life, showing the bridge of the human ship. "Captain." Reed appeared, looking calm and confident despite being surrounded by an entire alien fleet. Behind him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency, showing no signs of fear or panic. "I am Admiral Chiron of the Corvani Empire," the alien commander began, his 4 eyes studying the human captain carefully. "You have entered our space without permission. Explain yourselves." Reed smiled politely. "I am Captain Marcus Reed of the Earth vessel Thunderstrike. We have been observing your empire for many years, Admiral. We know your customs and your laws. We come seeking dialogue, not conflict." The words hit Chiron like physical blows. "Observing us? For how long?" Intelligence Officer Nina Cross stepped forward on the human bridge. "We have been watching your empire for 37 years, Admiral. We know your fleet positions, your technology levels, your political structure. We have learned your languages and studied your culture." The implications were staggering. If these humans spoke the truth, then the Corvani Empire's greatest strength, their information superiority, was meaningless. These aliens had been studying them while remaining completely undetected. Tactical Officer Jake Morrison added quietly, "We know about your war with the Seekan Republic 15 years ago. We know about your mining operations in the Outer Rim. We know about your plans to expand into the Vega sector next year." Admiral Chiron felt something he hadn't experienced in decades, genuine fear. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice barely steady. Captain Reed's expression remained friendly but firm. "We want to be recognized as equals, Admiral. Humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. We seek trade, cultural exchange, and mutual protection, agreements." "And if we refuse?" Chiron asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. Reed gestured to the massive ship around him. "Then we will defend ourselves, as any species has the right to do. But we hope it won't come to that." The galaxy is large enough for all of us. On screens throughout the Corvani fleet, human faces looked back at alien ones. For the first time in 8 centuries, the Empire faced beings who were not conquered subjects or inferior enemies. They faced equals who had proven their advanced capabilities simply by arriving undetected. The age of Corvani dominance was ending, and everyone knew it. Admiral Chiron's pride warred with his survival instincts. The human ship was impressive, but he commanded 12 battle groups with over 200 warships. Surely numbers would overcome whatever advantages these newcomers possessed. Captain Reed, Chiron spoke with forced confidence, your ship is large, but you are one vessel against our entire fleet. Perhaps you should reconsider your position. On the Thunderstrike's bridge, Tactical Officer Jake Morrison looked up from his weapons console. Captain, they're powering up their main guns. All ships are targeting us. Captain Reed remained calm, his hands clasped behind his back. Very well, Admiral. It seems you need a demonstration of our capabilities. I had hoped to avoid this. Chief Gunner Tyler Brooks waited at his station, his fingers hovering over the weapon controls. The Thunderstrike carried armaments that Earth's finest scientists had spent decades perfecting. Each weapon system represented breakthrough technology that no alien species had ever encountered. Tyler, Reed said quietly, target the asteroid field to our port side. Show them what our main cannon can do. Brooks nodded and began the targeting sequence. The asteroid field contained rocks the size of small mountains, floating in space like ancient monuments. In seconds, his computers had locked onto the largest asteroid, a massive chunk of iron and rock nearly a kilometer across. Firing main plasma cannon, Brooks announced. A beam of pure energy erupted from the Thunderstrike's forward section. The light was so intense it illuminated both fleets, casting strange shadows across ship hulls. The beam struck the massive asteroid and simply erased it from existence. Where a mountain-sized rock had floated moments before, now only empty space remained. Silence filled every Corvani bridge. Their most powerful weapons could crack asteroids apart, but this human ship had completely vaporized one in a single shot. The energy requirements alone should have been impossible. Intelligence Officer Nina Cross stepped forward on the human bridge. Admiral, that was our smallest weapon system. We have 7 others, each more powerful than the last. Admiral Kieran stared at his tactical displays, trying to understand what he had just witnessed. His weapons officer, Commander Thane, worked frantically at his controls before looking up with wide eyes. Sir, our scanners can't even detect how they generated that much energy. The power levels are beyond our measurement systems. On the Thunderstrike, Chief Engineer Petra Volkov monitored the ship's systems from her station. The plasma cannon had used less than 5% of their total power output. The fusion reactors hummed quietly, barely affected by the massive energy discharge. Admiral, Captain Reed continued, we don't wish to demonstrate our defensive capabilities, but perhaps you should test them yourself. Fire on our ship. The suggestion shocked every alien officer. No one willingly invited enemy fire during a tense standoff, but Reed's calm confidence suggested he knew something they didn't. Chiron hesitated, then gave the order. All ships, fire a warning shot, minimum power. 200 alien warships fired simultaneously. Energy beams and projectile weapons converged on the human vessel from every direction. The combined firepower could have destroyed entire cities. The weapons struck an invisible barrier around the Thunderstrike and simply stopped. The energy dissipated harmlessly against shields that seemed to absorb everything the Corvani fleet could throw at them. Not a single shot reached the ship's hull. Our shield technology is equally advanced, Navigator Beth Stone explained calmly. We can maintain this defensive barrier indefinitely. Dr. James Fletcher watched from the medical bay, relieved that no one had been injured. He had prepared for casualties, but Captain Reed's peaceful approach was working perfectly. Admiral, Chiron realized his fleet was completely outmatched. These humans possessed technology that made Corvani weapons look primitive. Worse, they had revealed their capabilities without showing any aggression or desire for conquest. How is this possible? Chiron asked, his voice heavy with defeat. Your species is unknown to us. Where did you acquire such technology? Reed smiled. We developed it ourselves, Admiral. Humanity has a gift for innovation when properly motivated. For 30 years, we knew this day would come. We prepared accordingly. Communications Officer Diana Walsh added, We studied your conflicts with other species. We learned from your victories and your enemies' mistakes. We built something better. The truth was devastating. These humans had not only watched the Corvani Empire in secret, they had used that knowledge to surpass Corvani technology completely. Every military secret, every tactical advantage the Empire possessed was now meaningless.